let's understand what the bidding strategy looks like, right? Now, there is ways where you can start off first or wait till the end. There is no right or wrong. It just totally depends on the type of bidders there, the type of reserve, how far the reserve is from the actual price and how much momentum the auction is going to get, right? I actually personally hate auctions where there's a lot of momentum because the momentum means emotions means higher price, okay? I want the momentum to be killed as much as possible. I want that momentum to never develop, right? And so if that means me starting off with a really low bid, a lowballing bid, if the agent takes it, okay, in certain circumstances where there's not a lot of bidders or where there's a lot of bidders in place, putting a bid really high so that you cannot let the momentum create. Understand that if the price of the property goes from $1 million to $1.3 million, for example, okay, 1 million to 1.3 million, there would be a lot of people who would disappear at 1.2 million. Now, if you're ready to pay 1.3, you should not be scared of putting 1.25 there because you know that you're not going to get this property below 1.25 anyway, right? What you're doing is you're killing the momentum of these low ballers that are there, right? There would be people who would bid in million, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, 5, creates the momentum. If the momentum is there, it's like I see auctions as a relay race, Someone hands the baton to the next person and the next person and the next person. The longer the relay race, the more the bids come in, the higher the auction price, right? And so you need to ensure that the race is shorter with less people so that you can compete with only those, right? And so it's important that, where does the auction start? A lot of people naturally think, I'm going to bottom out the auction. I'm going to start really, really low. Not always a good strategy. Actually, it's a really, really bad strategy because you are giving an opportunity for other people to create the momentum, which means that you would be priced out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then if you come at the other end, right? If you come at the other end where you're waiting for all the bids to finish, right? Where the bids are reduced at, say $5,000 or $2,500, then that momentum develops quite quickly as well. Because one of the strategies that auctioneers would always play is that, hey, pay an extra $1,000, it only adds $10 to your mortgage. And we're like, oh yeah, that's true. And so they'll go $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 without realizing they've pushed the price up by almost $100,000 by making an extra 5 bids or 10 bids, right? And so you can't get the momentum going there as well. And so throwing bigger bids in killing that momentum is important. Auction should always be all about killing that momentum. Auctioneers hate people who kill the momentum, okay? They hate people who kill the momentum.
Because they want all the emotions to everyone just sort of get lost in the wave of emotions. And
Definitely. And so sometimes there would be auctions, I've attended auctions where I feel really, really confident, but I don't open the auction. I wait for the auction to be opened by someone else. And then I see that, I'm almost 50,000 away from my walkaway price, right? And so either I can enter at that spot or I can walk away, right? Now, how do I decide whether I need to enter into the auction now or not, right? When I'm $50,000 away from my walkaway price. That $50,000 is not the guiding factor. The guiding factor is actually the bids. Have the bids reduced to 5s and 10s? Have they? Because if they haven't, if they are still $10,000 bids, I know that, anything that I put, someone is going to outbid me anyway. I have 2 bids to offer, right? I'll offer, say, a bid with an extra 20 and someone beats me to 25 and then I'll bid another 25 and that's it. I'm out of the air, right? And so it's important that, you understand when to walk away from some of these auctions, knowing that, you would hit your walkaway price anyway. So why waste your bids? Understanding again to the point, the bids are finite, they're not infinite. And so why add fuel to the fire by adding your bids in there?
Yes. Why is there finite? I mean, I know it sounds silly. Why is there? Why waste your bids? That's a really interesting point that you make there, because it sounds like your bids are finite. And how so? Is that because, like you said, an average is 15, 20 bids, and then it starts to lose its momentum, or it hits that crescendo of it, someone.
Correct. So think about it in this instance, right? So when an auction starts, usually it starts off at, they would take $100,000 bids or even $50,000 bids as well in some auctions, right? If you assume that, you're taking the first 10 bids at $50,000, it's almost $500,000, right? No one goes that fast. Maybe sometimes in Sydney, in some of these posh suburbs, but usually there are a couple of bids at 50 or 4 bids at 50, and then they'll, move to almost like, 20 bids. So understand that it's a diminishing scale when it comes to bidding, right? And so when I say the bids go to 20 or 15 or 20, the first 5 or 10 bids would be somewhere around, 20s and 50s, and then, the sliding scale starts, right? If the auction goes from, adds $200,000 straight away by someone putting in $50,000 bids 4 times, that, this is a hot auction. The momentum is there already, right? So it's important to gauge and understand that your bids are finite, and you putting in your wood to the fire means that you're going to loud up the fire. You're going to light it up more, which means that you're not going to win it anyway. And so you need to come in at a point where you have enough buffers to see it through and enough buffers to make it win, make it count, right? And so if you're coming in at the really end when the bids are only at $5,000 or $2,500, know that you would have to make a bid for $10,000 because you want to kill the momentum, because $5,000 is a very small bid, or $2,000 is a very small bid. People would keep going an extra $2,000. And so you need to come up with $10,000 or $20,000 to kill that momentum.